May 10th, 2026. um, I got a real fucking bombshell. What's it called? So I talked to Nor today, and man, uh, I don't know. Had a lot happen. So she didn't really talk to me yesterday. Like I last covered that we were on call, and then she cried, and then her phone died, and then that was it. I didn't hear anything else from her. So I texted her today. I reached out and I was like, "Are we just not gonna talk anymore?" And then I don't know. We started talking, and then she ended up just kind of saying like, "Oh yeah, I'm traveling," stuff like that. Which I'm gonna. This is my perspective, but I'm gonna say that it was kind of an excuse. I think she was genuinely traveling. However, she didn't really make an effort to text, catch up, anything like that. So I don't know. Later on, we are talking, and eventually it gets to a point where I'm kind of talking to myself, and like in the conversation, like I typically keep it to myself, but I don't know. This is definitely my fault. But I kind of was saying some things, and I was basically saying like I don't know. I was just basically like, oh, I'll tell you eventually. Just now is not the correct time. And she was like, no, can you tell me? Can you tell me? And I'm like, no, it's not the good time. Because it was just more some like analysis I was doing on her. And it was just kind of like, I don't really remember exactly now, which is kind of fucked up. But if I read the text back, I'm sure I'd understand again. Anyways, long story short, I'm talking and she just starts getting really fucking pissed. Like she gets really mad. And I mean, I've never had this mad before, but I was just kind of saying like her being vulnerable, because I think I said something that about like her being vulnerable, and she's like, yeah, well, now I'm not gonna be vulnerable with you. I'm gonna show my feelings off or whatever. And this could have been a joke, but I kind of had a feeling that she wasn't joking. And so I was like, you do realize that, if you aren't vulnerable with me, that this is not gonna go well. And I kind of said like, if you just become reserved and cold and stuff like that, and we stop talking, I should have kept this shit to myself. Now that I think about it, but I was just like, if you do realize that this will be your fault when we stop talking. Yeah, this is super harsh and this is super fucking brutal, but I don't know. And she kind of took personal offense to that, which I should have remembered. There's a very popular quote that's like, a person's knowledge or depth can only go to the amount that they have reached. So just because if I have a lot more knowledge, or if I am, this sounds bad, this sounds corny, but like if I have a lot more depth, they will not be able to match it. They will only be able to go to their limit, the same way that I'm only able to go to my limit. You know what I mean? You can only understand as much as you can understand. Even if the other person understands a lot more, they can only match you to the point that they understand, right? And so this is basically what happened. I should have been aware of this. This is kind of my fault. I just wasn't really thinking about that. But it ended up being that she got super mad by this, and she just kind of misconstructed it, and basically kind of picked and choose. And I was trying to get her to calm down. I was telling her to breathe, focus on breathing, and I mean, you can imagine how that went. She didn't do that at all. But it was just like, it just didn't go well. And I assume we're probably not going to talk for a few days. And I actually need her to calm down, so definitely won't talk for a little bit. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It just did not pan out as I thought it would. And she was pretty fucking pissed off. I can read a little bit, but thought it was interesting. Um, like she, because I also said a big thing, because she was like, "Can you just say what you have to say?" So then I said it. So I was like, "You're not being vulnerable, running away from negativity." Because earlier as well, she was talking about death and stuff, or I was talking about death. I mentioned it because she was talking about how she almost died, and I asked if she thought about the car crash a lot, and she said yes, right. And it's funny because she then also she says yes that she thought about it a lot, but then I asked about like did you think you would die or whatever, or I don't know, something similar to that, and she's like, no, don't ever talk about that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I noticed that she doesn't really like talking about anything death related. So I was like, because she's like, can you say what you have to say? I'm like, okay, you not being vulnerable, running away from negativity, and not confronting these topics will not end good. And I meant that you letting the ego being defined as becoming cold will result in something bad with us. Hence why I said it could be, keyword could, your fault on that. We must have submission on all sides. Does this make sense? And then she says, got it. And then I'm like, okay, well, if you got it, tell me what you think. And she's like, I'm not doing that. And then eventually I was like, I kind of had the pressure. And she's like, okay, just to make stuff clear, right? The fact that my ego and everything you said could lead to us not talking and stuff, that could be my fault. But what caused me to do that and put my ego first? And then I said, trauma, death, negative things, childhood experiences. She's like, you're deepening it. Promise the real answer is that you pissed me off, so I had to put my ego first, just to piss you back. You should really stop psychoanalyzing me. And then I was like, I haven't felt anything to this argument. Because she said she tried to piss me off back. And then she's like, because I didn't do anything since I said I haven't felt anything to this argument. Then she's like, you're genuinely making this all about me and not about you. It's making me tweak out. And then I was like, I'm not perfect neither. I have a lot of problems. Way more than you know, but I understand that it takes time to work on. Then she says I'm actually going to go insane. I'm like, okay. And I am trying to help others from going through similar issues. Then I just say, okay. Then she's like, you're really getting my last nerve. I'm being very clear with what I'm saying. You're just saying stuff with no correlation. And I'm actually going to tweak out and lose my shit. Then I was like, would you like space? She's like, a lot of it. When you come to your senses and actually understand what the fuck I'm saying, let me know. I say, She says, until then, don't say stupid shit. Be much appreciated. And that was it. So, all in all, she's not very happy. I don't know. Don't really know what to do. And it's not to say that I'm 100% correct. I know I can be incorrect for sure, but I don't know. I think it's a bit of a curse and a bit of a blessing sometimes because I'm very aware of this and I'm very aware of others and to a fault because I kind of knew this would have happened and I mentioned it and then it still happens because I didn't really actively try to prevent it. So it's kind of like, you kind of already know where this is going to go. And if you're not actively trying to prevent it, it's going to happen. And it's kind of, it only reinforces my beliefs, I feel like, because, if I notice these things and I'm able to recognize these patterns consistently, whenever there is a situation where I notice it, it's kind of like, okay, well, could this just be me? Could this just be my ego that's talking? Or could this really be true? And, I mean, I've yet to really stand corrected. I mean, it's also totally possible that I'm incorrect and this is all in my head. But, from what I've seen, at least, I really do think that I'm kind of correct on this situation. So, I don't know. I'm not sure how it's going to go from here. I'm expecting probably a bit of time before we talk. And I think she definitely doesn't like me as much. Which is okay, just to be clear. Like, it is what it is, man. As much as at first I was really like, oh my god, uh, this might be it. This might be my savior. I'm kind of doubting that now. I don't know. I think I already have all the answers I need. And yeah, I mean, part of me is a little I guess, sad because I don't really want to keep searching for someone, you know? Like, I'm not really a fan of the whole process of trying to find someone and then getting to know them and then, et cetera, et cetera. Only for things to just end up bad because I'm very aware that it's during the bad times that true true closure comes, and it is not during the good times. And as we can see, it's very easy to be upset and to be negative and to let things or leave things to fall out when things are bad because you don't want to experience the pain, right? And so it's kind of hard when someone doesn't really understand this because a lot of the time, suffering is required. And when you don't have that suffering and when you try to run away from it and avoid it and don't take accountability, it doesn't really, you only find that energy from others who do the same. And then you wonder why things feel this way, and then you wonder why you can't have anyone that truly cares, which is very ironic because I don't really have anyone. So I wonder if that's because of that or if it's because it's just kind of a hard time finding someone who understands things the same way that I do. I don't know. So many perspectives. I don't know. We'll see how things go. I get the feeling that she's really not going to talk to me for a while. So, and I think she kind of insinuated that she wanted me to let her know if anything. So we'll see. We'll have that conversation when it happens. But oh well. Got a long way to go, man. Got a long way to go. And then also I was kind of backtesting and looking at some trading videos. Uh, Becoming not necessarily profitable, but making money off of it is very doable. I think I've mentioned this in a video prior, but I've noticed that it's not. Because at first I was like, dude, how the fuck am I gonna make money from this shit? But I was watching a video about how this guy, he's talking about how to make 10K a month. And so what you do is you get a funded account. I think he used Lucid. And then you trade, and then you get your first payout. And then I think he did a 50K funded. And then you get your first payout, and then you use that money. So I think it'd be around $2,000 to buy your up to 5 accounts, which would be I think around $420 a month. And then you just copy trade. And then you do that consistently long enough and become profitable, or be profitable and then do that consistently, not vice versa. And then you would actually be ranking in 10K months, stuff like that. And then after that it's kind of off to the moon. So I don't know. This is cool because at least I had something to talk about. This is bad because I was not planning on things to go like that. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how things go. It's like people know what they want. It's like there's a deep inner thing, and people understand that they want certain things, but they just don't. They don't know how to get it. Like for example, I know for a fact that she's gonna feel, I guess, like, I don't know. I don't know. This is kind of the issue with this because it feels like sometimes the things I say can be construed as egotistical. But at the same time, I've seen this time and time again, you know what I mean? So it's like I'm always checking myself. But also, I think sometimes I'm not firm enough. Like, for example, if I would have known that she obviously, like, I knew she was not going to be able to handle this point fucking shown. But I should have been firm instead of kind of being half-assed. Because I think that's a flaw of mine, that I'm a little bit too lenient with things. And instead of being, very firm on what I believe, sometimes I kind of a little bit wishy-washy type of thing. You know what I mean? I don't know. Gonna leave things here for now. Check back in tomorrow, of course. See if anything changes. And yeah, that's it for now, guys.